Hello everyone, it's Yogi here. I hope you're well. Yes, today is a little bit different. Okay, this is a special stream here. So it's long overdue. I've been having a lot of requests for a WIP Parade for quite a while, but I was trying to work out in my mind how to do it properly so it kind of makes sense to you and also to me as well. But I think today is a perfect day. And also this is the end of the year, isn't it? It's a perfect time to look back a little bit down in the memory lane and talk about what we've been stitching for the past, not just 1 year, but, you know, ever. And this is what I'm planning to do. So in the beginning, I was thinking, well, considering the number of WIPs I've got, maybe I should just pick them randomly and, you know, with the magic wheel, you know, fairy wheel, the wheel of doom. And, but then I go, well, that doesn't make sense. I want, you know, the whole stitching journey is a story. So I decided well, in terms of how to approach the order of the parade, it makes sense to do it like a story, telling the story from the beginning, kind of, and do it in the chronological order. So this is what we're doing today, okay? How far we can go, I have no idea. And I think it's going to be like Netflix, you know, TV series. And it's going to be a few episodes. And maybe even, you know, multiple seasons. I have no idea. So I'm going to go with the flow. And it's going to be nice and relaxed, informal. I'm going to just do it my way, okay? And I've been watching floss tubers doing the WIP parades throughout, you know, the past few years. And, you know, everybody has their own different styles. So I'm going to just do it my way. I'm going to improvise as I go. So today I'm going to just talk you through how I got here. Because we stitch together every day. And, you know, you get to see my current projects. But there are a few things, you know, I want to show you what I was stitching before I discover the whole full coverage sort of genre. Okay, so let's sort of take it step by step and grab your coffee. And thank you for joining me. And of course, you're probably, you know, stitching at the same time or doing your Christmas things or maybe on the go. I don't know. But wherever you are, so good to see you. And yes, let's begin. So I did a bit of organizations. Okay, I've got more actually. I've got these 2 bundles here and I've got more, and let's see how far we can go. So majority of the, I'll say probably all of the sort of projects I've got right now, they're all full coverage. And but I want to show you what I was stitching before that, and I had not looked back for a long time. So you know, I'm going to go down this journey with you, and of course I want to say hello to all of you. And let's just you know, pick out a few names, shall we? And Sarah, Sarah's the first to report to the chat. Oh, Sarah is coming, you know, to the group and brought the group a joke. I think it's a joke, right? Or puzzle. Sarah says, why are Christmas trees so bad at knitting? Oh, I didn't even know they could knit. Am I missing the point here? I don't know. Anybody knows? Welcome, Sarah. And And we've got Maddie here as well. Maddie has no clue either, me either. And Suzanne is here as well. And also Travis, I see you there. And Chelsea. And Anna is also here. And Lizzie. And we've got Clara as well. And our lovely Suzanne. And all of you. And Rachel as well. Wonderful. And Nikki, hello. Haven't seen you, Nikki, for a while. And good to have you here. And Janine as well. And yes, I'll come back to say hello to you one by one, okay? And Ebony, I can see, and Sarah VN as well. Oh, how wonderful. All the usual suspects. And Six as well. And BLT. Right. Yes. So I am going to show you a few pieces, okay? So this is very organized in my book. I had to put them in bundles so I don't get things mixed up. So I talked, you know, I kind of mentioned from time to time, I came from kind of a stitching kit kind of background. And, you know, I think majority of us come to cross-stitching through different means. Some might be doing embroidery and all sorts of things. But for me, I started off with a lot of dimensions kit. And I want to show you a few, okay? To be honest, some of them, I don't really know whether they're from Dimensions or maybe other companies. Maybe you know, then you can help me out there. I'm so glad that I actually kept them all. And well, maybe not all. I'm sure some of them I have lost. And you're probably not going to be surprised that all my pieces are unfinished, okay? Just a little bit of a heads up. And that's kind of the pattern with my projects. So this is one of the, I wouldn't say it's the earliest. I can't remember which year. This is probably back in 2014, 15-ish. This is one of the kits. It may not be Dimension, but some of you might recognize this pattern. It's called Toy Shop. And I have seen sort of the same pattern being charted by different company, and they're a little bit larger. And this is really pretty. I cannot find the markups. And so it's basically a shop. I think Christmas shop. Yes, Christmas shop with sort of Christmas theme and toy shop, something like that. I kind of remember on top of my head. And you probably notice I've got masking tapes around my projects, and you will notice that throughout, okay? And do not judge me. You know, that was the best method I knew. And you can tell this is slightly aged because it starts to get yellow. And, you know, from my experience, if I peel the tape off, the fabric is perfectly fine. So I'm not damaging anything. So this is one of the pieces that the type of project I was doing quite a lot since I was quite young. I think when I started stitching, I may have been about 16, something like that. And I cannot remember how I started. I just love stitching kits, because when you get a kit, basically you've got everything you need in the package. It's like a present, isn't it? You've got needles and everything. And and on top of that, there are a couple of them, origin unknown at this point. I just dug them out. They've been buried under sort of my storage there. So this is one of them. I didn't even manage to stitch it. Let me move this away. So this is quite stiff. This is cross stitching as well, but the material is very similar to needlepoint type of thing. Okay. And oh, hello, Michelle Fuller. Hello. And Jersey Girl is also here. And Lynn Burgess as well. Nuala. How good to see you, Sandy. If I haven't said hello to you, it's me, not you. I'll slowly come back, and I'll make sure that I greet you. So this is so sweet. So this is, well, you could argue this is kind of full coverage, right? But in my mind at that time, I really only learned about the term full coverage maybe less than 3 years ago. So for me, this is just a cross stitching pattern, and really, really simple, no confetti, and this is really sweet as well. I think these two come in maybe in the set, or I'm pretty sure I bought both of them at the same time, and I started stitching this one. But you can tell that you know, at some point with the background, I gave up, but I'm pretty close, because all the other bits, elements have been stitched, and it's just the background. I'm probably just bored of the kind of blue stitches all over. And so there you go. This is one of them. It's so strange looking at them. I don't even remember which year I did this, but I spent a fair bit of time. And let me turn over to show you the back. I even have the needle still tucked in. I have no idea. Let me show you this. I did not even notice until now. I've got my needle tucked in. And this is kind of my method at that time, because I told you before, I learned everything that I knew about cross-stitching through dimensions, because their kits always come with manual, right? Sort of instructions. And they teach you how to end the thread. Oh, let me have a look. Normally, I would just turn my work around and then thread through, end my thread like this by inserting my needle through, right? If you're doing a lot of dimensions kind of kids, you probably know I do this. Oh, I'm making progress with this piece today right here. So normally I just pull it through. Oh, there's a little knot there. Never mind. So that's how I start and how I end as well. So I turn my work back and forth, something like that. Okay, so just give you another example. And then there's another one I found is so sweet. It's kind of sampler type of thing. And this is a type of stuff I really like. So this kind of a sewing room type of theme there. And let me look at the back. The back is actually really, really nice with back stitching. And so really, really neat. This is what happens when there's no confetti, right? You could really keep the back quite tidy as well. So I was quite disciplined with starting, ending, and taking care of the back. Probably that's why I'm kind of slightly, picky about how, well, not so much I want it to be super neat, but I don't like sort of floating stitches. Maybe that was coming from working on projects like this. It was kind of drilled into my head that if you can, tuck everything under other stitches so you don't have floating stitches around. So if you do a lot of dimensions type of stitching kit, you can probably relate to this. Okay, this is so sweet. And unfinished, of course, yes. What are we talking about here? I think there is some back stitching here as well. So I didn't get to do that. And I cannot remember which year this is. Quite a few years ago. Okay. And just a couple of things I want to show you before I move on. And, kind of show you at what point I started to venture into more full coverage without knowing that was what it was. So there's another example here. I think this one may be from, I don't even know which way it faces. I think it's some sort of vase here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. I don't even know which way it's supposed to be facing because I've lost the pattern and also the markup and everything. I think it may be facing this way. I think it's some sort of view of some flowers and plants and a window, etc. So I think fabric count wise, I actually don't know. I think this one may be about 16. I'm not sure. But this one may be 18. No, this one may be 18. And this one may be 16. Okay. Hey, Alison, Rennie, and Mauja. Hello. If you're new to us, welcome. And Wendy as well. Laura is also here. And Jacqueline as well. Let's have a look. Bess, of course, is here with us. Yes. So this is one of the examples. I don't know where this kid is comes from. Maybe Lucas S. Luca S. Because majority of the times, the kits I was buying would be coming from either Dimensions or Lucas. Yes, Luca S. So this is another example, and as usual, unfinished. Okay, but I enjoyed it. You can tell that, I was buying quite a lot of kit, and this one is actually quite small in terms of stitches in comparison. This may be, I think this is 18 as well. I'm not too sure. And I just noticed, I was actually doing 10 stitches. It's probably one part of the pattern. I think this may be a teapot of some sort, and on a beautiful table, something like that. And it's quite a small piece. And I was doing 10 stitches without knowing that I was doing 10 stitches. A lot of times I just buy a kit, following the instructions. If it's calling for 10 stitches, I do it without really knowing the difference between full cross and 10 stitches. Seriously. So I've been learning quite a lot the last 2-3 years doing full coverage. Right. So these are some of the examples I've been doing prior to sort of slightly larger pieces. These are, I kind of just dip in and out. I was doing quite a lot of knitting as well, and all sorts of other things. I was doing a bit of patchwork or whatever. I'm just one of the people that really enjoy making things with my hands. So any excuses to do anything, I'll do it. And cross stitching was kind of just one of the things I was doing. I wasn't, spending all my days doing it unless I started a cross stitching project, and I maybe spend a few days working on it and then forget about it. That's normally the pattern until I found this pattern here. Okay, let me show you on the markup on the screen here. I found this piece. So this is also from Dimension, and this is called Maggie, the mess maker. And this is when things started to change, because you can tell this pattern is significantly larger and more complex comparing to all the ones I showed you before, right? And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it so hard. And of course, I started stitching. So I was looking up for a date. So this piece has a little bit of a story, okay? So when I first got the kit, I think it may have been 2013, something like that, quite way back. The reason I remember was because it was at the same time when one of my cats, Mr. Pancake, he was getting a little bit unwell. So I was in and out of the vet quite a lot. So I tried to trace back on that period. I think it's probably sometime around 2013. And so what I'm about to show you is actually this. Okay, this is the pattern, but what you're looking at is not the first version. This is actually my second attempt, and I was trying to find the first version because it looks quite extensive. I think, you know, if you put, so this piece has a lot of back stitching involved, a lot of dimensions gold. This is one of dimensions gold piece. Majority of them have some sort of different type of stitches. A lot of them have back stitching. So if you put the back stitching aside, I think I'm probably about 70% there. So this is kind of full coverage, not 100% coverage. If I show you the pattern again, okay, towards the walls at the back, on both sides of the curtain, the red curtains there, they're actually not fully covered. There are some stitches scattered around and blending with the fabric color. So the fabric color is kind of beige, sandy, and there's some red dots there for the wallpaper pattern. So those two areas on the sides there, they're not fully coverage, but the rest of the piece downwards, they're fully covered. Okay, so this was probably my first taste of pieces like this. It covers almost the entire fabric there, but I did not know of the term full coverage. Okay, for me, this was just an exciting, a really pretty picture that I wanted to stitch. So as I said, this is actually my second attempt. So what happened was, the first time when I bought this piece, okay, let me zoom in a little bit. These are really, really beautiful. I love this piece still till this day. When I first got this piece, maybe back in 2013 when Mr. Pancake was ill, and I was very stressed, of course. Mr. Pancake was one of my first cats. I adopted two cats, Nuage, both boys, and Mr. Pancake. So it was the first time in my life that I came across, you know, one of my pets, one of my cats being sick, quite sick. I was very stressed, and every day, you know, I was just praying and hoping that Mr. Pancake got better. So the first time when I got this piece, I kind of buried myself into this piece as an escape from the daily uncertainty and stress. You know, every day, I remember Mr. Pancake was with the vet a lot, in and out, and if he was staying with the vet overnight, I actually had some time that I was able to kind of just stitch. I was spending a lot of time stitching, and I was stitching for my own survival, to be honest, because my heart was breaking. I knew things didn't look good, but I was hoping for the best. So a lot of my emotions were buried into the piece. So maybe that's why I cannot find it. I suspect the first version, which was even more completed. So if this piece, I managed to do about 70%. That piece, I think it was close to 90%. There are quite a lot of difficult stitches down here. If I show you the markup one more time. At the bottom, at the base there, you see there's a piece of fabric draping down to bottom right there. That part was extremely hard to stitch. And also, I think for the first version, I actually managed to do some back stitching as well, the lacy bits. And so it was probably close to 90% completion. And the reason I'm saying that I'm not surprised that I cannot find it anymore, I think it's still in my house somewhere. But after Mr. Pancake passed away, I could not, even though I had a little bit to finish, I could not even touch that piece anymore. I could not touch it. And I was heartbroken. So because I spending so much time escaping, you know, stitching this piece, that piece of fabric had a lot embedded a lot of, energy at that time and emotions at that time. So I think, if I remember correctly, I folded it up, and I remember tucking in somewhere under, well, in a wardrobe somewhere. And I tried to, have a quick look yesterday. I couldn't find it. It was probably so buried. I was trying to prevent myself from accidentally, looking at it or find it. But it's there somewhere. It's there somewhere. So the first piece, I decided to bury it, and kind of moved on with my life somehow. But before, so this piece I actually didn't get till 2018. So that's quite a few years later. So I'm trying to think, nearly 5 years later, I came across this piece again, and I just remember how much I loved it. And by that time, I had a little bit more strength and courage to come back to this piece. So I decided to buy the entire kit again. It was 2018. Thank you, Six. Yes, it's like Dolly, isn't it? Mr. Pancake is also black and white, tuxedo cat as well. So, I have soft spot for black and white creatures. And Panda, Killer Whale, exactly. And Travis says, I've seen this one as a puzzle. Yes, I'm pretty sure. I think quite a lot of these pieces are pretty big, quite popular in the jigsaw world as well. And so 2018, I decided to get the kit. And apologies for a little bit of stain there. I didn't sort of store it that well, but I did my best. So this is the second attempt, and I went this far, but I didn't finish it. Maybe I'll come back and finish off. But the problem is, I think I no longer have the pattern, because the paper patterns, you know what they're like. You can misplace them, they get thrown away by accident. So I no longer have the paper pattern. Hopefully I'll be able to get a copy, maybe digital pattern at some point. I actually wouldn't mind restarting the third time. That's how much I love this piece. And I was looking up the name of the artist. It never occurred to me to look it up, and I cannot remember the name right now, but somebody created this piece. Okay, I think the name looks a little bit Russian. I'm not sure. I'll have to look again. But this is just adorable, so adorable. But the same author. Okay, I had a suspicion maybe this piece I'm about to show you is also from the same author. And yesterday I got a confirmation. I know it's a little bit late, isn't it? I just never thought about doing research on the artist. So this is Maggie, the mess maker. And then, because I love the style so much, you probably won't be surprised that I was drawn to this piece as well. Let me show you. This one. So this piece is called Max in Adirondack. Dax. Well, I don't know. I can't pronounce it properly, but I think it's a name of a location. And this looks like some sort of fishing, cabin or something. And there's this little cat. I think this piece is created by the same author, same artist as Maggie, the mess maker. And this one I actually found, I think I found this piece around 2014. So it was about a couple of years after I sort of did the previous one, the Maggie, the cat. And now this piece entered my life. And so for me, and this I had this piece before I had a second attempt of the one I just showed you, right? So just to get the sort of, order correctly, so you know how I got here. And so this one, so the first attempt of this one, put it away, try to forget, the trauma. Before I came back to this 2018, I think it was 2014, I decided to do this piece. Okay. And not as completed, didn't go as far as Maggie, the dressmaker, the mess maker, but not bad. So I kind of did the cross-stitching part. Let me zoom in for you a little bit. Also back stitching as well. So you can see the pattern emerging that I never wait till the end to do the back stitching. I do it as I go. And as you can tell, even though this is not kind of, super complex like Heaven and Earth type of pieces, but there's a fair bit of confetti for this piece. For Dimensions kids, this is quite a, complex piece. And this is what I've got so far, back in 2014 there. Janine says, and the Rhone Dax, not far from me. Oh, it's in New York then. I was thinking somewhere, maybe in Europe. Yes, I'm terrible with geography, Janine, thank you. So it's not far from Janine. It's a big state park in New York State. Wow, I didn't know that. And Ligda, welcome. And Carla Hill is also here as well. Suzanne says, Yogi, I have a saga file for Maggie the mess maker if you want. You're kidding me? Are you sure? Wow, is it from Dimensions or is it charted differently? And I would love to restart that one. And, I want to complete it before I die. Now, yes, things to do before you die, like a bucket list. I want to complete that piece. I tried twice. I might as well try one more time. And also with this piece, yes, let me just show you the markup one more time, okay, so you can see how far I am. So I kind of, started from the center with Dimensions kids, they always tell you to start from the center. So I did what I was told, I didn't even know you could start from corners. I only learned that very, very, recently, like recent 3 years. So I always fold my fabric in four. They always tell you to fold it this way, all right? And then fold it again. And this is your center. This is where you start. And that's what I did every single time from the center. And so I started from sort of a hat area and extended out. But it's beautiful though. This piece is also absolutely gorgeous. And let me just zoom in a little bit more. You get to see the stitches. I think some of them are 10 stitches. And that's what makes the gold Dimensions gold collections so interesting, because they have very simple pieces, like just straight cross stitching, but the gold collections, they're a lot more involved, and they have different stitches. Sometimes, what is it called? What was the little ones called? French knot, and all back stitches or 10 stitches. So I did what I was told, and look at the details here. It's so pretty. There's a picture right here. And you can probably get a sort of flavor of the type of patterns I'm drawn to from just selection of these ones, just a lot going on everywhere, and whimsical. So that has not changed with my taste, okay? And even now, this is just such a beautiful, beautiful piece here. And along with Maggie's, the mess maker, I would love to do these two pieces all over again, no problem. no problem. And so Suzanne has got it. Oh my goodness. And you've got a digital version. How did you get a digital version? That is crazy. Yes, we need to talk. We need to talk, Suzanne. Yes. And I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch. So, yes, Travis says third time is the charm. I know. Because some pieces, if after 10 years, you look at them, you're still in love, then you're in love forever. They're just there for you, and you know, I think it would be a shame if I don't try to complete them. So this is back in 2014 with this piece, okay? And then another few years later, I got this piece for the second time. So this is the one I've just showed you. So the first piece, you know, location unknown, but I think it's somewhere in my house. And let me show you the back as well of both pieces. Let me just show you how neat they are, you know, with the way of stitching. Are you ready? So I followed instructions from dimensions sort of, you know, instructions that come with a kit there. And there you go. Just look at how neat this is. You know, with dimensions, they teach you how to do crosses, and also majority of the times they instruct you to do Danish method. So you end up with really, really neat back there. Can you see that? And everything is tucked in. Okay, and when they're colors together, just look at this. The back is just so neat. The front looks like this. Okay, that's the front, and then the back. Because I was taught to stitch in certain order, and from left to right, right to left, you stitch in a different direction, and also you can do from bottom up or top to bottom. Oh, I really miss that. I really miss that. You can't really apply this kind of techniques to heaven and earth type of project. It would be too much. And, you know, heaven and earth projects is so confetti. You wouldn't be able to produce, you know, this type of pattern anyway. But look at how neat this is. And it's, you know, majority of the this type of charts, they have a cluster of stitches, the colors together. It's all flat colors, so you're able to do Danish stitches and just go one way and come back and the other way. So yes, I used to be very, very disciplined, isn't it? This is so neat. So there you go. Looks quite different from my current projects, and I love this sewing machine as well. That is so sweet, so sweet. So yeah, so these two pieces, I would say they're the closest thing. Let me zoom out a little bit. These two pieces are the closest thing for me to full coverage up to that point, up to 2018-ish. Okay, these two, I was doing these ones without knowing the term full coverage. And then let me show you. Oh yes, oh I forgot. Yes, and for this piece, right, for Max the cut piece, I think I did this one, and then I attempted to stitch it again on the I cannot remember the circumstances. I think maybe because I've got this thing, if I leave a piece that's unfinished for a while, instead of going back and work on the same piece, sometimes I just want to restart. And I think this is what I did, and I cannot remember I cannot remember when this happened. So I found this piece as well a couple of days ago, and I was wondering, what was I thinking? Why did I start again with this piece? So you can see on a different fabric. I think the fabric counts are the same, I'm thinking. And you can probably see how desperate I am wanting to work on these pieces. But sometimes, you know, just like the first piece, like this piece, if I was to restart this piece, I'd rather restart from scratch rather than continue to work on this. For some reason, because this piece I had for so long, it's kind of part of the history, and I want to. If I want to work on this piece again, I want to restart, and I cannot remember when I did this. So this was 2014-ish. It must be later on. I attempted to stitch this piece again and didn't go very far, as you can see. And who knows, maybe third time lucky with this one as well. Hello, Colette. And yes, thank you for joining us. And Callan as well. I know Suzanne is the best, isn't it? Yes, absolutely agree. Oh, yes, Bess. That's the name I was looking for. Bess has got the name. Yes, it's Charles Wizoki. I'm not sure, is it Russian or something? I didn't Google, but I saw this name. Yes, Bess says Charles Wizoki. Wizoki. I butcher. I'm so sorry. I love his work so much, and I can't pronounce his name. And Bess says it's one of my dream kids. Frederick, literate as well. Yes, absolutely. Susan is working on that piece, right? It's from Dimensions as well. Yes, Susan is working on that piece. It's a kitty sleeping on the bookshop. Yes, I know. I'm going to look up this artist more to see if he's got more pieces. I'm totally in love. And to be honest, when I got this piece, I didn't know it was from the same artist. Never crossed my mind. I was just so drawn to the style. So thank you, Bess. Yes, that's the name. So thank you to the artists as well, creating something so beautiful and has become an important part of my life. And so I was working on these pieces, and okay, and now enters the full coverage. Okay. So this piece you might be familiar with if you've been following the channel for a little bit. I do work on it from time to time. It's one of my 14 count stitching kits. So at this point, I was still stitching kits because I had no idea up to maybe 2022. I did not know that you could just buy patterns and then kit it up yourself. I did not know. Even though I've been cross-stitching, a fair bit, I did not know people, there were stitchers out there actually just buy the pattern. Because for me, it doesn't make sense. Where do I get the fabric? Where do I get the threads, right? So I came across this kit, cross-stitching kit, on Amazon. And let me show you the markup. It might look familiar to you if you've been watching the channel. Okay, so I found this piece. And I looked up the date. Let me just double check one more time. I think I got this kit. It was 2018. So yes, I actually bought this kit back in 2018. Okay. This is, at that time, it was known to me as the Wedding Dress Shop. And now I found out the name is actually called Mason Romantic. It's a romantic house. It's a wedding dress shop, literally. And it's a view of Paris Street, I think, overlooking the Eiffel Tower at the back. So even though I bought this kit back in 2018, and I actually bought it with another 14 count, the hat shop, together, I saw them on Amazon, and they look interesting and challenging because they're so large. And up to this point, the biggest project was, you know, those pieces I showed you. I had never worked on anything bigger than that. I was so curious. So I got 2 kits from them at the same time. But they were kind of tucked away in my drawers for a couple of years. No, I would say 18. I got it sometime 2018. I didn't get to I didn't get to work on them until on this one, really. The other one I didn't touch for a lot longer. So this one I actually finally got it out of my drawer in just before COVID period, so the end of 2019. And because I was looking for a bit of challenge and doing something different. And I was wondering, yes, I've got this kit, you know, buried in my drawer. Let me take it out. I was a little bit scared because it's so big, you know, much bigger than the cross-stitching kit that I'm used to. So let me show you this. So it's a cross-stitching kit. So it comes with the fabric, the floss and everything, right? Hey, Rajal, hello. And Suzanne says, I bought Frederick from Amazon under £17, really great. I know, it's a sweet piece, isn't it? And yes, I remember when Susan bought the kit and I was quite envious. And so this piece, the trial and tribulation of this piece, okay, so the wedding dress shop. So you can tell this is 14 counts and it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And I forgot to mention, you know, the Frederick, the previous 2 pieces that I showed you here, right? These are, I think they're 16 counts or maybe 18. I'm not too sure. 16 or 18, I need to measure them again. So they're a bit smaller. So this piece, the wedding dress shop, is 14 count Ada, okay? So nice and big, which is nice. And as usual, because, you know, I was just doing what I was told, I started from the center. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I started from the center. Okay, I don't know whether you can, you know, smell the rat a little bit. There's something a little bit, you know, weird going on with this piece. So you're looking at my absolutely first attempt to stitch a kind of, you know, proper full coverage piece. By that, I think full coverage is, yes, you know, the previous ones I showed you, the 2 pieces, they're kind of full coverage, but there's no confetti really, very little. Whereas this one is proper. They're charted very similar way to maybe Heaven and Earth and all the other full coverage pieces. And I started from the center. I fold my fabric in the middle and then fold it again and found the center point. And I started, because it was the kit came with paper pattern as well. So I did 1 page at a time, printed chart. And so I don't like to work with papers. I don't know how to do it. So I actually took a picture or pictures of the A4 sheets and then just use a PDF app to mark them with highlighter, digital highlighter. So that's how I worked on this piece. And bit by bit. So I was struggling a lot because it was so different. So I started from the center. I did not understand block by block parking or color completion or whatever. I just stitched 1 color at a time, tried to figure out how to do it so I don't go crazy, okay? And let me show you the back as well. So you can tell I was still trying to stitch the the dimensions way. I try to do Danish stitches as much as I can. You can always tell it's Danish stitches when you see these vertical lines there. You go one leg at a time and the other leg back. But look at this. This is what happened. Because I was trying to figure out how to manage all the color changes, and all this happened. It's a little bit of a mess, and I was struggling a lot. So because of this process here, I embarked on a journey of trying to find a solution, and try to figure out. I didn't have the full coverage, the term in my head, or stitching method. What is that? No idea. Or parking. No idea what that was. You know, those words didn't exist in my world up to this point. And so from then on, I thought, well, this is not working. Look at this mess here. If you look at how neat my back was here, right? And I started to stitch like this. It was a bit of a shocker, okay? So I said, well, how do other people do this? This is crazy. The pattern is just all over the place. So many colors changes. And again, you know, at that time, I didn't know what confetti was. I just knew that the pattern just random, colors scatter everywhere. So this is what actually set me off on the journey to look for solutions, because I wanted to stitch this piece and didn't know how. So I started to discover floss tube. I didn't even know floss tube existed. So I was browsing up and down on YouTube like a crazy person, and found loads of, you know, amazing channels, and some of them quite old at that time. Some videos were 10 years old, and I was thinking, whoa, for 10 years people have been doing this type of stitching. I had no idea. So I have a bit of a problem there. But on top of this, I had a bigger problem. Let me show you what happened here. Okay, so if I show you the markup again, so it's not square, it's kind of a landscape, right? The width is slightly longer. And let me show you what happened here on my fabric. So it's quite a large piece, so let me see if I can make it make sense. So it's a slightly landscape piece, so I should have started this way up. You know what I mean? This is the length, all right? And this is the height. And see what happened here. See where my stitches are facing. So this is a dressing gown there, but it's facing the wrong way. So basically, when I started stitching, I did not check which side I was facing. And I ended up stitching portrait this way. You can see the mannequin here. I was stitching in the portrait mode rather than this way, which was the correct orientation. So at this point, I knew that this is a no-go. I had to abandon it. So, and also I was doing a lot of research at the time, you know, looking at this bag. I was probably relieved that I get to restart. I get to restart the piece. But I didn't start right away because I was a little bit traumatized. I worked on, you know, a good page of it before I realized I was stitching the wrong orientation altogether, you know, on top of the mess at the back as well. So the multiple sort of layers of problems I've got with it. So I thought, well, let me park it instead of restarting, right? Let me park it and figure out what this is about. So I was, as I said, you know, browsing everywhere to try to find this type of stitching. And this is when I found heaven and earth. I'm trying to remember which channel I was watching. It may be one of the sorry, I try to remember the channel name. It's a lovely lady. I cannot remember the channel name. You guys probably know. She does background music. That's why I don't normally watch her channel, but I think it was probably her channel that I discover Heaven and Earth, because I saw this pattern I'm about to show you next, and I was wondering, who did this piece? You know, this is so beautiful, and and also I get to observe, because she was doing stitching with me, so I could get to see how she stitch her piece. And I'm not sure whether I discovered parking through her or maybe someone else, because I was just browsing so many channels at that time, like a crazy person. And then I discovered Heaven and Earth. So I rushed over to Heaven and Earth because I kept seeing this word hate everywhere, hashtag hate. And oh, Stitch, yes, Lizzie, thank you so much. It's I need to give her all the credit there. Stitchery lovers, yes, exactly. I think that's it. It's a lovely lady. I don't know which country she lives, but she's got you know, a lot of pieces, really colorful, a lot of Heaven and Earth pieces, and but she plays music, so I don't normally watch her channel. But thank you, thank you, lovely lady. So Clara says, I have done that not once but numerous times. Are we talking about the wrong orientation? Yes, so definitely check. You know, I'm not saying that I'll never make mistakes again, but you know, hopefully if I check more, then it's more likely that it won't happen again. So with this experience, right, a little bit painful, and I found this pattern. Okay, I'm going to show you. I rushed over to Heaven and Earth and start browsing. Okay, and at that time, obviously, I was still quite scared because those pieces look so complicated and intricate. And I thought, well, there's no way I would be able to survive the you know, larger pieces. So I was, you know, browsing Heaven and Earth and trying to find smaller ones. And I was lured by the name mini. You know, they've got a category, just mini. So a mini I can handle, you know, mini is small. And I headed over there and got maybe 5 different mini patterns, thinking that, you know, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier. Smaller is, you know, easier to manage. And I got this one. Well, in fact, let me show you the markup first, because this one, oh, take a breath, take a breath. Ujjayi breath, that's what we need. Okay, so some of you probably will fall off your chair. I don't know. So let me show you. All right. I got one of the, I think I got 5 mini patterns. I just rushed over there and did a shopping spree. And this was one of them I got. This pattern is by Chira Marchetti. It's a patchwork quilt room, and it's a mini version. And you guys probably notice I'm still working on this piece, right? And but I'm going to show you how I got here. All right. So brace yourself. So in the beginning, I wasn't, you know, the fabric count of my choice is generally 14 counts, maybe up to 16, 18 even. 18 for me was pretty small then. So when I wanted to start this piece, I think the lady, the Stitchery Lovers, is it? Yes, Stitchery Lover. I think she was working on 14. So I felt, oh, yeah. So even though it's quite a complicated, you know, intricate chart, but you can work on 14 counts. 14 counts, you know, I should have no problem. So I got a piece of spare A-dot here, and I decided to stitch the quilt room piece. Okay, so this is what I've got. So this is quite a large 14 count. I think it's probably from one of those 14 count kits, some leftover ones. So this is what I've got here, okay? 14 counts. So in fact, when I started, I was still doing the center start. So I've got this bit. This is the center of the piece. And let me show you the markup here. It's where kind of the orange, the window and the orange chair in the center there. Okay, so I started here. So by this point, I managed to pick up the parking method somehow, and I decided to try it out here. And for some reason, I tied a knot here, which I probably wouldn't do nowadays. And so let me zoom in a little bit. 14 counts. It doesn't look too bad, does it? You know, this may be my first parking attempt. And I was doing block by block parking. That was the first method I learned. And I loved it. I remember thinking, wow, this is amazing. You know, finally, I found a way to manage all the color changes. And you can park as well. I was fascinated by that. So it was my go-to method, okay? I was practicing from here, from the center page there. And at some point, I discovered that some people actually started their pieces from corners, upper left, right, bottom right. I was doing a lot of research, so I was, you know, learning new things every day. And I was fascinated by that. I thought, well, how do you even do that? You know, because center makes sense. When you finish the piece, you have quite even amount of border, you know, margin on the side. It makes perfect sense. But I discovered there are people out there actually starting from corners. And I wanted to try. If I, you know, you probably notice, if I pick up any new methods or new information, I want to try it. Or if I watch some of you stitching a different way, I want to try it. Janine says, I was going to laugh if your very first hay was an Amy Stewart. Yes. Oh no. It's not. I got about 5 different mini patterns, and some of them were Amy Stewart, but this was Chira Marchetti. For some reason, I decided to start. So this was, in the beginning, I started from the center, and it's going kind of quite well. I was gaining confidence. And then I saw some stitches starting from the corner, and I really wanted to try it, okay? So this is what I've done. I know, it's a bold move. I decided to, park all the thread, leave all the threads here. I tied a knot and counting my way up to the upper left. Okay, how I did that, I have no idea. I probably just drew, because some of the grid, lines are faded. But I decided to go from the center, counted my way all the way, hoping for the best, and found my upper left corner and started stitching there, and hoping that by the time I get to the center, it's going to join up seamlessly. I till this day, I don't know. I hope I counted it correctly, but it was a bold move, wasn't it? And hi Joyce, hello, and can't think of a better time as well. Oh, we have a new joiner here in the chat. Can't think of a better name. I love your name. Yes, I think it's already better. Welcome. I think it's a lady. I'm assuming everybody's a lady, okay? If you're a bloke, let me know. She says, Yogi, I'm new here. What's your preferred fabric count? Oh, I love every single count, to be honest with you. But majority of my work, my WIPs, active ones, are 14, or do I have 18? No, I don't have 18. I have 116, but that's a Christmas, Halloween project till next year. So my go-to would be either 14 or 25 or 28 at this point. These three, I think, are kind of, I can really comfortably go without having to think about it too much. I haven't done that many 18 counts or 16 counts because I think 16 counts feels very similar to 14. I prefer 14. It's my comfort zone. Okay, and I have a couple projects. There are 22, but 22 feels very close to 25, so they're not vastly different. But yes, it's a little bit extreme. Either 14 or 25, 28. And 28, I say, yes, is my favorite at the moment, but I also love 25 and 14 as well. So, and welcome. Yes, Janine says, I hope it lines up. I'll be scared to do that. But I was so eager to try the corner start. I didn't care. I just said, well, it's a mini piece. Hopefully, it's going to all join up nicely. But on top of the kind of quite adventurous starting points here, also, I want to draw your attention to the floss, the threads I'm using here. It doesn't look too bad, does it? It looks really nice. It looks really nice. So the colors here, because at this point I did not have sort of full set of DMC or anything like that, not even CXC. So the thread is actually coming from kind of random, my stash of kind of random floss that I accumulated throughout the years. It's a mixture of everything. All brands you can think about is probably in there somewhere. And in the beginning, this is a very early stage of my sort of full coverage journey. I didn't want to invest into buying new threads, etc. Okay, so you know what I did? What I did was I eyeballed all these colors. I just rummaging into my all the threads I've got, and some of them barbinated, some of them in scans. I just eyeball them and look at the swatches on the pattern there, and try to find the closest color I could find. Literally, I eyeball this, and it doesn't come out too bad, does it? It's not bad. And so I just, try to match up. Sometimes I Google, I Google the DMC number, and then looked into my stash of threads and just found ones that kind of, close to it and in different shades. And they come out pretty nice, I think. And so these are all random, unknown brands that I've got. Because I didn't want to invest too much money. I just said, well, maybe I don't like it, so I don't want to go out and buy new floss. And so I went this far. So at this point, I evolved from block by block stitching. You can see some of them starting to look a little bit more like Gemma's method. So I think at this point, back in 2019, sorry, no, it can't be 2019. Let me find out when I bought these mini. 18, 19. Oh, hang on. No. By the time so this is what happened. So when I was doing the wedding dress piece and then had a really terrible time, it was at the end of, I'm thinking 2020. It couldn't be 2019 because I remember it was very close to, it was just slightly before COVID. And this is during COVID, okay? By the time I'm stitching this, it was during COVID. And I'm thinking about I'm looking up the date till I bought those mini patterns. It was 2022. So some time had gone past. Maybe I was so traumatized by this piece, I just left it there. And then it wasn't until 2021, 22, I discovered Heaven and Earth. So it wasn't that long ago. We're 2000, nearly 26 here. I did not know who, did not know anything about Heaven and Earth until the end of 2022. So there you go. So so this is sometime at the end of 2022, I think. And so at this point, I didn't have any, dedicated floss to work on these pieces. So I think it came out pretty nice, pretty nice. And of course, at some point, I decided I'm going to try something else because I was learning new things, every day. And so I'm looking at the time, 6:30. I'll go on till maybe about 7-ish. And we'll take a break and we can have our regular Amy Saw, okay? So as I said, this is going to be a Netflix series. And I'll just go as far as I can. And so after that, I just want to show you, this is not in the order of that I'm trying to show you the pieces here, but this is my current piece. Okay, so this is on 25 counts, and I think I didn't start this one till maybe, I don't know, a couple of years ago. So we're talking 2024. So I did this piece, right? And then went on a detour. I'm going to show you what my detour is. So I did this with random threads. And 2 years later, come back and start this piece on 25 counts. But I want to show you what happened in between. Okay? So I worked on this piece in 14 counts. Rachel is asking, what type brand of fabric do you use? With Ada, I think the Ada is just spare pieces that came from my, came from one of those kits. So no particular brand. But for even weave, I tend to stick with DMC colors. So I was working on 14 counts there, right? And of course, I want to try something else. I learn new bits every day, and I discovered even weave. Dun dun dun. I know, dramatic music, because that was when my world was turned upside down. Because I remember when I, let me just show you this bit so you can see the contrast. So up to this point, I was doing 14 counts, all right? 14 counts, comfort zone, maybe 16, okay, all good. And I discovered people were doing tiny stitches. I was thinking, what is going on with these people? Why do you stitch? I remember seeing a guy doing really, really neat stitches on 14 counts, kind of row by row. I was thinking, this person must have lost his mind. Why would you want to do tiny stitches like that? These are so nice. 14 counts, you can see them. First of all, that helps. But then again, you know me, I'm curious, and I started to look into why these crazy stitchers were doing tiny stitches. But they look beautiful. So, of course, I have to give it a go, okay? So I went from this, just imagine this, okay? I went from this, and in this process, I must have looked into kitting up things because, oh yes, of course, the eyeballing, I actually had to buy, let me show you. Oh dear. Okay, in order to eyeball, because I thought I was saving money, okay? I thought I was saving money. So I was trying to eyeball, trying to save money on threads. And I was trying to eyeball these colors. And I was Googling, Googling DMC numbers on Google and trying to match it. So I thought, well, why don't I buy a DMC chart? It makes sense, right? Buy a DMC chart. And so I have all the colors available in here. And I don't have to Google anymore. I can just look up the number and I can just do the eyeballing there. It makes perfect sense, isn't it? And then I realized I was, so I was Googling, or I was trying to find, looked up on Etsy to try to find where to buy DMC charts. And of course, I realized that the one with threaded, the threaded version with real threads, they were quite expensive. So I decided to buy a printed version. I think this one is about £12 or something like that, okay? So it's a printed version of it. And then I Googled. I really need to stop Googling, okay? And I Googled, and people go, never, ever buy printed charts because they're not accurate. Even though it's slightly better than just Googling random DMC numbers and try to match the numbers, the colors, they're not accurate. So at this point, I started to want to do it right. So when I got this copy, I was gutted, and I realized, oh, maybe I shouldn't have got the printed version. Maybe I should have got the one with threads, okay? And so this is a little bit of waste of money. And eventually, I decided to get a copy of this one. So I spent, this one is a little bit more expensive. I can't remember how much it was. It was like £40 or something. So £50 out of the window just to save some money on the floss there. Okay, so I can use my random brand of threads. So I was, it was getting out of control. So I got this copy and it was quite nice. Okay, they're real threads, and I still occasionally pull it out and do it. But at some point, I just decided, oh, all of this is just nonsense. Let me get some proper threads. So I decided to buy some DMC, not a full set, but I just tried to get enough that I could do my next project. No. Let me think. Instead of getting DMC, that's when I discovered CXC. That's right. Instead of going out and buy sort of loose numbers, I think this one is about 90 colors, still quite a bit. And I was thinking about the expenses as well. I was thinking, well, if I don't like it and I spend this amount of money on DMC, it's going to be a shame. So I discovered CXC, I think from a channel. It's a UK-based channel called Cross Stitch Smiles. I love the channel. It's just a couple talking, right? And I think they have not created content for a little while, but through them, I discovered there's a UK vendor selling CXC. So I thought, well, CXC price, is a lot more reasonable. You get a whole set, so I get to try it out anyway. So I got a set of CXC, my first set. And then I decided to venture into 25 counts. All right, so I'm going from 14 counts here, okay? I decided to do 25 counts on, let me show you. Let me show you which pattern I decided to go for. This. So this is Amy Stewart. Okay, I still love this project. This is one of my active WIPs, and I'll show you the version I'm doing in a little bit. But it's important because quite a lot of you, particularly new stitchers, maybe you're coming from similar kind of stitching background as me, doing 14 counts, 16 counts, or maybe 18, and then you're having a terrible time stitching 25 counts. And because there's a clear line, I think, between 22 up to 22. Once you venture into 25, it's a very different stitching experience. And you need to be able to read what the fabric is telling you in order to stitch it comfortably. So I went from 14 counts, okay, decided to do 25 count on this pattern. This is regular size as well. This is not mini. So at this point, I was gaining a little bit of confidence, and I was getting quite ambitious at this point. Okay, so so this is what I've done. Okay, and if you ever had a really bad time jumping from larger stitches to 25, do not despair. You're not alone. Because I was having a really terrible time as well. And let me show you what happened there. So from 14 counts, I decided to get a piece of 25 count fabric. Okay, this is what I've got here. And at that time, you can tell I already learned, I think we're still at the end of 2022. I've already picked up gemma stitches. So this is 25 counts, even weave, okay? And this is probably, I think this is the first attempt of me stitching even weave using CXC floss. This is CXC. Going from upper left, I learned that. You saw me. I learned that from, previous piece from upper left, okay? And I was trying to stitch it with Gemma's method. So I basically threw everything that I picked up and learned along the way and tried to put it to this piece. And you probably notice I have not gone very far. So, so what happens is it doesn't look too bad if you just look at the stitches themselves, right? But what happened was this piece, this corner here, probably took me, I don't know, 3 days, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was looking at the fabric. I could not read it. Going from this, okay, let me just show you. Going from this, which has very, very clear definition of the fabric here. I know the cross is supposed to go on this bit, right? Every like square piece area. To something that just looks like, what is this? It just looks like a piece of fabric. And so I jumped from 14 to this overnight, hoping for the best, and doing Gemma stitching method and park. And I gave up at this point. My eyes were draining. I was probably sobbing at one point. I wouldn't be surprised. And I had to grit myself, so I had to be very careful that I do not grit it incorrectly. And so let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, and yes, at this point I was still using masking tape. Okay, I'm lazy, and do not judge me. And so this is my first piece of even weave, and you can tell that it's been cut off since. This is been cut off from the rest of the piece, because originally it was really big. I was, going to do the entire piece from upper left, and I decided to abandon this project here because I wasn't having a good time. Even though looking back, the stitches don't look too bad. They don't look too bad. And the back, let me show you, because it's Gemma stitching method. So there's no long threads being carried over. And to be honest, if I just kept going, this doesn't look too bad. And CXC is providing pretty good coverage as well as doing full cross. But I couldn't do it anymore because my eyes were crying. I was crying on the inside, And so I thought, well, this is not working out. 25 count is not for me. And I was ready to give up. I was ready to give up. And so I left it for a little bit. I probably went back to my 14 counts, you know, for a little bit of consolation, and tried to stop crying. And then I decided, once I sort of, you know, composed myself a little bit, I decided, okay, maybe going from this 14 counts straight to 25 was not wise. Okay, look at how large these stitches are versus these ones. And I went one to the other. I jumped over overnight. That wasn't supposed to happen that way. So I thought, well, okay, why don't we step back? Okay, and let's, you know, I decided to work my way up. So from 14 counts, I tried out with the same pattern. Okay, I decided to go from 14. I think I couldn't find the other pieces, the working pieces, but I think I tried it on 18 counts first, and then moved up to 20. And I think this one is 22 counts. I think either 20 or 22. But I think what I did was I basically practiced on different fabric counts using the same pattern and see how it works out. And gradually, at this point, you can tell I was going a little bit further than my initial attempt. I was getting comfortable. I was using the same method. I think I was using Gemma's method. You can see just from the shape of the stitches. This is 22 counts. And this is the turning point, I think, for me, because at this point, I felt a lot more confident to try 25 counts again. And because I practiced my way up. I practiced on 18 counts, I practiced on 20 counts, and then this is 22, I think. And I was feeling good because I started, you know, even though this is still not even weave territory, I was getting used to tiny stitches. And this is when things started to change, because on the second attempt, when I went back to 25 counts, things were different. Things were different. And so this is my proper attempt of this piece. I'm not sure how much later on I came to stitch this piece, but this is 25 counts on the same fabric as this one, as my first attempt. It's the same fabric. But I decided to start from the middle. This is the center start from the rocking horse. The same fabric count. But this time I was having a much better time. So if you ever get sort of discouraged with tiny stitch count, work your way up. Do not jump over. Do not jump from not even 18 counts to 25. Slowly work your way up, because your eyes have to learn how to read the fabric. Even weave, you know, as it says on the label, it's evenly woven, and there's very little definition of where your stitch is supposed to go. So you need to train your eyes, not just be able to see the stitches, but be able to read it. So, and that's how I got here, you know, and from this point on, I was doing quite a lot of full cover, so 25 counts. From this point on, I was going crazy. I was like, you know, doing everything. I want everything to be tiny because I could. And so that kind of, you know, kind of how I got here to get to 25 counts. So let's have a look at the chat here. Clara says Yogi much better on 25 counts. Clara says, I have that one with real floss, and it was $25 when I bought it. Oh, you're referring to this card, the DMC chart here. So so I think today I'm gonna pause at this point, okay, and I'll see if you have some questions. So Clara is referring to the real floss. To be honest, yes, if you're going to get the floss card, definitely get the ones with real thread. I think in the UK this is quite expensive, but then again, DMC everything is more expensive in the UK and maybe in Europe as well. But to be honest, after I got this this set, this card, I decided to get the full set of CXC, and also later on decided to get the full set of DMC as well. So once you have that, this becomes a little bit redundant. Occasionally I open it out and check, but I think sometimes the thread colors kind of change a little bit. Some of them become unavailable, or maybe there's some new ones. So these are static, unfortunately. They probably have different editions. So I got this one, I think back in 2023, something like that, or 22, maybe late 2022. Something like that, in the middle of COVID. But it's not being used much because I don't need it. I've got a whole set there. And so I've got the wooden drawer set, DMC. I know it's a bit of a luxury, but I was locked in, in a house during COVID. I thought, well, I just treat myself a little bit. And yeah, so this is how I got to the 25 counts and Heaven Earth Madness, and the madness is still going. I fell into the rabbit hole, and not able to get out just yet. And Lizzie says, I have looked through Amy Stewart's chart quite frequently, but not seen that one. Which one? Not that I would, because of the doll. Oh, do you mean this one? This one is called, let me double check, I should know. It's Grandmom's Attique. I'm sure it's still there. Grandmom's Attique. So let me show you this one. Yes. So this is one of my favorite styles of patterns, really. Just everything, everywhere, and beautiful style. So. And I started from the center there. And yes, I need to come back to this piece a little bit more. And Katharina, welcome. And Katharina said, good evening, almost missed. I just watched an old live. Well, all our lives are not that old. It's probably just from yesterday. And Lineker is also here as well, welcome. And can't think of better name. Says, how do you decide between cross stitch and tent and half stitch? It's a stylist. Well, there are probably a couple of factors, and probably different stitches will give you different answers. But for me, it's more of it's a nice variation. So it depends on some pieces. It's kind of, it feels nice to do 10 stitches, maybe because you want to stitch it a little bit faster, and also it's a different stitching experience. So I like to mix and match, and have certain projects doing in tent and some in full cross, and maybe depending on the fabric count as well. I've got quite a few. I wouldn't say quite a few, maybe 2 or 3, 22 counts. I'm doing 10 stitches. It's kind of just the right, fabric count for 10 stitches. And you can do it on 25 as well. I think I've got one piece doing 10 on 25. And also on 32 counts, the Christmas house I'm doing 10 out of necessity, because full cross is too jammed. It's very hard to stitch. So 10 stitch becomes a nice alternative. So Lineker says, Yogi, have you got the DMC drawers? Yes, that's what I've got. I know. Yes, I got it from Amazon. So I think it was a bit of a bargain because depending on where you look up the drawers, it's got a full set, including the first 35 colors and a couple of specialty threads as well. And I think I got it just over, I think 330 pounds at that time, but some places they're priced at around 500, so just look around. They're sort of slightly more reasonably priced ones, but it's a bit of luxury because I was at that time, head over heel over sort of full coverage and heaven and earth pieces. So I thought, well, if I love it so much, I know it's a bit of a money, it's not cheap, but I decided to invest. The thing. And Michelle Fuller says, I love hearing your stitching journey. Yes, this is the first time I actually go from chronological order and tell a story, so it's kind of it's kind of making a lot more sense in my mind, because a lot of things I kind of forgot. I kind of just, rummaging around trying to find learning new things, and never really sat down and thought about it. So this is really good thing for me to do as well. Travis says, to build up a set, is it feasible to buy one skein of thread at a time? Michael's has 2 different sizes of skeins. Just wondering because I might start building a set for Amazing Animal Kingdom. Well, Travis, I think it really depends. So guys, what do you think? So it's a slightly tricky actually, because when I was starting to sort of do this kind of pieces that involves a lot of colors, I was wondering, how do I even go around and try to collect 90 to get 90 colors, let alone 240, right? Depends on the versions you do. And so I was trying to figure out what would be the most practical and also economical way of cost-effective ways of doing it. And DMC, just in case you don't know, they're quite expensive over here in Europe and in the UK as well. That's where I am. And I think in the US you can probably be more relaxed about it. There are different places that you could get DMC, but if you're in Europe, yes, I think that was the reason why I decided to go for CXC first. I wanted to see if I actually enjoy stitching these type of pieces in a little bit more extensively without spending too much money. But once I realized how much I love this type of projects, that's when I decided to invest the entire set. And whether you get them one by one or the full set, it's kind of up to you. It depends on whether you're gonna have more projects, and also the pattern you're getting for Amazing Animal Kingdom. I'm presuming it's regular version, or is it max color? If you're doing max colors, I say get a full set. It's probably more sustainable. Oh, right. So Travis says 237 colors. So I answered your question, because very likely this might not be the only one of this type of project that you're doing. Once you start, set up on this journey, I would say it's unlikely you're going to just stop here. And to be honest, if you spend money buying them individually, first of all, it's a bit of a hassle. You have to pick them one by one, make sure that you've got the correct colors, and also it might not work out cheaper than getting a full set. So depending on because Travis is in Canada, it depends on the prices over there. And so, it's up to you. So, maybe guys can give Travis some advice there. Right, guys. So I'm looking at the time is nearly 7. Okay. So I'm really happy. I really enjoy chatting about sort of my journey up to my 25 count. I've got more pieces, of course. There will be a sequel. Okay, this is going to be a Netflix series, maybe multiple seasons, who knows. But I will try to pick another opportunity to continue and to show you more in a sort of chronological order. That kind of makes sense in my head. And so, of course, today we have our Amy Stewart Saul coming up. And looking at the time, in the UK time, we're nearly 7 p.m. here. So why don't we take a little break? Let's make it an hour, so you get to get things in order and get your snacks and everything. And we'll come back here at around 8 p.m. UK time, and we'll start our Amy Stewart Saul. How does that sound? So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy my journey to heaven and earth. Kind of, it sounds like a book. My journey to heaven and earth, and not just heaven and earth, but this way of stitching, the full coverage. So I'm looking forward to continue with the sequel. Maybe in January sometime. Let's see how it goes. And so let's come back. Let's take a break, and I'll see you in about an hour. Okay, see you then. Bye bye. See you at Amy Saul.